A lot of fun. And what's amazing to me about Atticus is that when he went to the vet without you, obviously before the clients had met you, he had a really bad experience.
Yeah, he was pinned down. You know, he got sharp. He was very aggressive to people and dogs, and so of course he goes into the vets, and everybody pays attention to him. That makes him really freak out, and then they overwhelmed him. They pin him. It's like a SWAT team, and unfortunately, is what's going on in a lot of vet clinics is when they meet with a dog that they see in this way, they call in their SWAT trained vet tech team, and they can take a mild problem even and make it into full-blown aggression. I'm seeing a lot of aggression that was caused by overpowering an animal at the vets. And there's a million things that are going on there. I'd like to highlight a couple of them. The idea of being in control. And I made this point over and over at the clinic, but I really want to come back to it, is there is no evolved capacity in any organism, or human, or any of the simplest animals, to allow another force to take over control of its body. That is panic-inducing.
Right, we fight back.
We fight back.
Right.
So, for example, and we can look at human experience all the time, is you go to the motor vehicle department and you look at that line and you give up control of your body to that line based on the flow. That's why they put the numbers up there now, so you can see your number. That gives you a sense of control. So like an implicit contract, I'll get in this line. And notice how you start to feel, you get in a line and people going through it and somebody starts asking 3 or 4 questions. So you start
you get really mad.
You get mad, right. Same, so you get an elevator. You give up your control to that box. Well, they put all the lights there.
Right, so you know where you're going. So
well, it gives you the, yes, so you always can monitor it, and it also gives you the illusion you're in control because you get the lights go on when you hit buttons and it's under your direction. When you think of it, why do we even need any of that gimmickry? Because when is an elevator not taking you to the 11th floor when you pushed 11?
Right.
And if the elevator's out of order, they put a sign there. So why do you even need all those indicators? And the reason is you're giving up control of your body. You get in a plane, you're giving up the control of your body to that fuselage, to that machine, and there's a deal. Okay, you get me to California in 6 hours, good deal.
And when the dog goes to the vet, often they're asked to be given up control of their body. And one of the things that Dr. Dow was saying, he was using the word trust. He's saying in order to get the dog, so they're not having a bad experience, you want them to trust. But you're taking a step further and saying the dog needs to feel like they're in control of their body.
Right, because he has no idea how he's getting out of there alive.
Right.
And remember, for a dog, most people say dogs have no concept of time, which I couldn't agree more, but that means a moment is forever. That means when he's at the vet, it's forever. So I'm not amazed that some dogs bite at the vets. I'm amazed that they all don't bite at the vet. Right. So the question is, well, why are they calm at the vet? And the reason is trust. That they can have a level of rapport with the human, be it the vet or be it the owner, that they can feel flow by being around that person. Therefore, that makes them feel safe. So they have no idea how they're getting out of alive, but they feel movement. And I like to give the metaphor of movement is if you go to a movie and there's a compelling narrative and it moves along. Right. Well, you're just sitting there, you're not doing anything, but you do feel movement.
Right. Oh, and so that's how the dog experiences movement in the vet. It's not actually, his body is not actually moving.
Right. Emotions are moving because he has trust.
With the person, with the vet, or with the person?
Yeah, it could be with the owner, it could be with the vet. Sometimes the owner doesn't have it for the owner, but so the vet will take the dog in the back room, and now he has trust to the vet, and it's much easier. And
you were, Dr. Dow was using food a lot to have that sense of trust and use it as a barometer to how safe the dog was feeling.
Yeah, well, let me...
Not as a reward for being a good dog.
Right. Yeah, it's not actually a reward, and you can't actually reward a dog with food anyhow. We can get into that on learning theories as we go along. But the point I made in the video was animal consciousness isn't out of thin air. It piggybacks on simpler systems. So there's a system for hunger with neural circuitry and physiology in the stomach, but it also goes all the way up to the esophagus. Okay. And there's the system balance, neurological and all those receptors and nerve endings and so on and so forth. Those two systems confluence, integrate to form animal consciousness.
What do you mean by consciousness? You mean what the animal is experiencing?
Yes, his perception, his apprehension if something's working or not working.
I see.
His memory even. is
Okay.
all a basis of these two systems integrating.
And how are we seeing that at the vet, those two systems integrated?
Yeah, if the dog is completely in balance mode, primarily in balance mode, then change equals danger. If he has a lot of hunger going on, so you think of balance as electricity. So when you see an animal that's electric, you right away, whoa, that's scary. There's growling, there's bristling, there's tension. You say right away, whoa, that's electric, charged.
Dangerous.
Danger.
Yeah.
Right, so electric equals danger.
Okay.
Now, if you see an animal supple, relaxed, calm, jaw open, eyes open, it's ingesting, that's the hunger circuitry. That's magnetism. Magnetism is always safe. Electric is always danger. So, if the dog's taking food, that means he's more magnetic than electric. He likes people being around him because he's magnetic. You know, magnets love to clamp together.
Right.
Whereas if you put the positive charge to the positive charge,
Right,
you
they
get
repel each
sparks.
other.
Yeah,
Right.
you get explosion. So what happens is when they're taking in hunger, that grounds the electric of the balance circuitry, if you will, completes the internal circuitry of animal consciousness. Flow of electric makes a magnetic field, and the dog now knows how to align with everything.
So even if you didn't completely understand your theory, one thing you could do when you take your dog to the vet is make sure they're really hungry
Yes.
and get them to
Now, most
eat food
dogs
along
won't,
the
right.
way.
And even when they're really, really hungry, the dog that's tense isn't going to take food.
They're not going to take food.
So now what you got to do is what is going on electrically in that dog?
Well, then they must be more in the
They're
balance.
holding back.
Right.
They're in the balance, which means they're holding back.
Right.
So how do you get a dog to let go energy? Have him fight for something. So let's objectify the problem. It's a control issue. I established earlier that no one can allow control over their own body.
Right.
Okay, so let's make it a control problem the dog can solve. How can the dog get in control of his body? He can fight to restore physical equilibrium. So when you go to the vets, rather than help the dog up and hold him on the table, it's exactly the wrong thing to do. Have him fight to get up on this slippery thing, and he's scrambling, and then he stabilizes it. Yes, he's stressed, but he's learning to stabilize stress. He's now starting to feel in control, and a real big thing happened as well. He moved a lot of energy. He got all that energy that the vet's going to trigger like a volcano. He got it up to the surface, and he was able to express it. And I'm there saying, yeah, good doggy, I'm on your side. I'm on your side.
Right.
So he got in control. He got on the table. He stabilized. Then right away I start pulling him off the table, and that dog wants to fight to stay on the table. Here's another really important principle. You cannot take a fearful dog and convince him that this is a positive
Right, that
experience.
it's not gonna be
Here's
scary,
a cookie.
right,
Oh, we love
right.
you. That's the absolute worst thing to do, because what you're doing is making him the object of attraction. If you ever come up to a shy child and you say, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Oh, I want to give you some.
They back away.
They
makes them more
retreat. They go
afraid.
deeper and deeper because you
Same.
made them the focus point.
Right.
And when you're in balance and you're the focus, that's more energy than you can handle, so you shut down deeper.
And so when I've seen people at the vet that have fearful dogs, and they're like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, that's the
it's
worst
okay."
thing they could do. They should be getting the dog to fight to get up on some slippery surface, and he overcomes it, and he feels good about himself. Now, you'll find a lot of dogs will not take any cookie, but once they fight and they get in control, all of a sudden they're hungry,
Amazing.
and they will
It's
take the food.
amazing.
As a matter of fact, it always happens. You can always get a dog to take food if you do it just right. That's a really, really important point, that you can't make it positive. So they have no concept of this is going to be okay because you're going to get treated and we all love you.
Everybody's nice.
That's a psychology, and it's
Right.
just not available to them.